So what can you expect from this video? An engineering office, which is usually not building cars, is presenting a build.
Hello everyone.
Hello everyone and welcome to another video from Speed Engineering, located in Germany, still trying to speak English. Today's episode is one of the last episodes of this series. It's about our little pocket rocket, the Suzuki Swift Sport, with less than 900 kilogram and more than 260 horsepower. I think it's also it's even around about 270 horsepower. What did we do? I don't know what the last status was in the last video, to be honest, but I will show you a little update of where we are now, because we are just about to deliver this car to our customer. Means that it is almost done. There is a little detailed work still necessary, but it will be done by the next 1 or 2 days, and then it will be delivered. In the meantime, you also had the chance to test this car on the racetrack on Oschersleben. And all in all, I can say that the test was awesome. The car performed very, very well, better than we all expected. I think we are not supposed to say this because the expectations should be really high if you build a car by yourself, but it was really, really very good. There was a little issue with the software, because I mean it works well. It has a huge amount of power, the car, but it has a very big punch. Means that if you go into the corner and you step on the gas, then it's like a best guess when it kicks in. So it could be that it kicks in the wrong position or in a wrong timing, and this is not that perfect. That means that someone, it is not us, because we are not doing any power management software or something like that, that someone has to modify this a little bit, and the punch is really too heavy. That's one thing. The suspension works nearly perfect. The only thing is, if you have some tight chicanes and you have a load change, then the rear axle is a little bit bumpy. That means that we will have to adjust the rebound on the rear axle, but the suspension all is really great. And you can also see it on the tires that the camber and all the rest of the geometry is really perfect. It was, yeah, I would say one shot, one kill. It was the first setup and it worked very well. Also didn't expect this. What is also new is that we have those vents here, because you can imagine the turbo sits round about here in this location, and it generates a lot of heat, and in this case we can reduce the heat, and on top of that we can also reduce the pressure under the bonnet of all the air which comes in. It has the chance to get out, so it doesn't push the front axle to the top, means reducing the grip. When I say grip, in the next sentence, I also have to mention the limited slip differential. There was already a limited slip differential installed in this car. I don't know what kind of limited slip differential it is, but I can just tell that it works very well. And the other thing, I think you already saw the interior of the car. I will push a little bit forward. Here, as I can see it here, the camber plates on the rear are also perfect. So if anyone has that kind of car, please use the camber plate with 1 degree negative camber. It's perfect, and it's quite cheap. I think 150 euro or something like that, and you go totally fine with this. Spoiler, we will come to that later. Oh no, we will come to that now. The spoiler is working very, very well. The connection is perfect. As mentioned, it has a magnetic adjustment. So the special thing about this spoiler is that you can assemble it by yourself. You don't need anyone else, because you won't get it street legal in Germany. Everything will be street legal besides the wing. So what we did is, I don't know if I mentioned this before, this is why I'll make it real quick. There are magnetic connection on the lower part of the wing feet, and you can just put it on the trunk and screw it in with those 2 screws. On the other hand, there is on the other side of the trunk there is a counterpart which is fixed, so you don't need to counter manually. You just have to put in the screws and everything is fine. After the track day, just release or unscrew the 4 screws and put it back in the trunk, and you can drive home completely legal. And yeah, it works very well, and this is the most neutral adjustment, as you can see on the angle. I wouldn't change the angle because you would generate too much downforce on the rear and too much drag. This is already quite a lot for the car, so I would keep it as neutral as possible. And yeah, as already mentioned, the battery sits now in the trunk of the car, as you can see here. And one of the most interesting parts is all that wiring in the car. But we will take a look underneath the car, and I will explain to you the wiring and why we have a wire to every single tire. And one of the special key facts is for sure the display, which is not the OEM Suzuki display anymore. And I don't know if it was in the last videos, but you can see here the customer first had, when we installed our self-developed seat mount kits, he had some Recaro pole positions in it. Then I placed a story on Instagram saying, hey, we have some Recaro podium seats, and he was like, okay, why aren't they in my car? So we had to change them again. So now he has some podium seats in it. And one of the most interesting things, I don't know if you can show it like this, but yeah, this is the custom display, which will be one of our next products. It is not the OEM Suzuki Swift display, it's our own. And you can see here that you have your sessions, where you can see the locked data. You have the dashboard and the sensors. Like for example, if you push sensors, you see all the values of every sensor which is connected and which is not connected, so you can connect your sensors. And configuration, user, etc. What is most interesting is the dashboard. And on the dashboard you see that we have a sensor for the engine oil temperature, for the gearbox temperature, and also for the brake disc temperature on the front and on the rear. And you can lock them. On the next step, I would like to show you what's up underneath the car. And you also see that we have to work on quite some details, like for example here where the glue is still fresh and all that stuff, and also some fancy little details like now some glossy interior parts, just to make it a little bit beautiful, because a race car doesn't always have to be ugly. And I can also show you what this is about, but I can't go into detail right now because this is a development we are working on at the moment, which is very interesting. And yeah, I hope that you guys can be patient, and I hope that you understand that I won't show anything in detail here because this is about the tire temperature measurement. And yeah, it's quite an interesting product, but we just need some time, and then we will explain to you in detail what's about with this strange little black box here. And yeah, let's take a look underneath the car.
Oh, er hat's verkackt.
Hallo.
Digga,
Voll ins Video geknallt.
ja, jetzt hat
Das kann ja
das
Ja.
fully cleared in the video.
Fully banked into the video.
Bang,
Denkt,
ist vielleicht was anderes.
Nicht ganz so.
Ready? Ready? So, what do we see underneath the car? A lot of wiring. You see all that wiring here. This is for the temperature for the oil and the gearbox, the engine oil and the gearbox. And there is some orange wiring, which you can see here. This is quite interesting because this is our sensor for the tire surface temperature. So it has a viewing angle of 120 degrees, and you see that it's not directly in front of the tire, so it means that the algorithm is recognizing that this is far away and the distance to this edge of the tire is not that far. And I just wanted to say it doesn't make sense, but it makes sense because the algorithm is working or calculating the distance so that you will have the correct values of the tire, even if you are turning in a corner. And yeah, those sensors we have in front of every tire. Why do we use the front and not the rear? The rear would be easier to place the sensor, but the problem is that all the dust and the dirt and stones and pickup and everything is going behind the tire as faster you are running, or driving. And therefore we have to place them in front. The second interesting thing is the brakes. I mean, here you can see our brake cooling kit. You see that on the front there are the inlets, and this is the outtake, and it goes directly in the center of the disc where we need it. And we are also measuring the temperature of the disc, which you can see on this sensor here. This small little guy is measuring always the temperature of the disc, so that you can show it on the display and you have your temperatures always. Oh, who is this little guy? Hey. So that you can track your temperatures of the discs all the time. And I have to say that lots of people, or what I've read in the internet, is that the brakes are too small, they're not working and all that stuff. This is now a car which weighs less than 900 kilograms. You are almost not braking, although this car has 270 horsepower, which is quite a lot. But you just need to tip on the brake and that's it. So with our endless brake pads, I think this is the ME22 endless brake pad, and the OEM disc, the setup is perfect with the cooling. So you don't have to invest in bigger brakes for this car. I'm definitely sure about that, because the Oschersleben is a GP track, and GP tracks are quite tricky, and therefore I'm very sure that this should be a benefit for you. If you own this car, don't buy big brakes, just buy good brake pads, for example endless. If you want to ask us for the brake cooling, and always use OEM discs, original from Suzuki, which are the best in this case. Let's go to the rear. Here you see the same. The sensor for the tire surface temperature and also the sensor for the rear brake. And I'm getting a call right now, but doesn't matter. And what we have measured is that you have roundabout temperatures on the front of 600 degrees while you're braking. As soon as you release the brake and the cooling kicks in, it gets down to 300 to 400, which is quite okay. The same for the rear, where we have maximum of 400 degrees on the rear, and as soon as you release the brake, it doesn't cool down that fast as on the front, but you have round about 200 degrees or something like that, which is okay for the car. And I think that's it for this video. So in the next step, we will hand out the car to our customer, and it could be that you will see this car in a video of another YouTuber who is way bigger than us. And yeah, thanks for watching, and we will continue now with more videos with our next projects like the Supra, for example. There are lots of updates on the Supra, and the myth around about bump steer around the Supra, and the Hyundai. Yes. Stay tuned, thanks for watching, and leave a comment. Bye bye.